could hear some pretty strong words being said in the locker room. Could you describe kind of the scene and what's
It's a
what's
locker
being
room
worked out
after
right
it's a
now?
locker room after you lose and play like that. You know, guys are upset. So that's about it.
What did you see in the first half, energy, execution-wise?
All the above was bad. You know, execution was really bad. But I still think it's our energy. Dan, I talked about it before the game. Thought we started out the first 6 minutes like we wanted to play, and then it just goes away. You know, we don't right now. We lose our will early in games, and then we fight back. You know, and that's what happened tonight. It was, you know, we cut it to 6, the one stretch in the second half, which was great. Then we take a couple tough shots, and then it goes back. But you put so much pressure on yourself by the way you start, and so we have to fix it. This is on me. Like, I have to fix this.
You say this is on you. I'm just curious, again, with the locker room, is that something the players come in and they're frustrated, or is it something that the coaching staff needs to go?
Well, I think, you know, yelling and all that doesn't do much anyway. It happens more than you think after games. So that's doesn't affect anybody really. But I do think, you know, guys take ownership. They yell at each other. We yell back and forth, and you figure it out. But we have to play better. It's not that hard. We just have to play better, and I have to do a better job of putting them in the right spots.
Doc, what contributed to the lack of intensity in the first half?
If I knew that, I would have solved it. You know, obviously, I didn't have the answer. I'm sitting here talking about our loss. So
I know it's early, but are you seeing fractures chemistry-wise on the court?
there's no chemistry problems. We're just not playing well, and we have to play better. You know, I think guys thought we would play well out of the gates, and we're not, and they're frustrated.
Doc, at halftime, the players were back on the floor extremely quickly with, I think, about 8 minutes left on the clock. Can you tell us what happened at halftime that they were let out so early or decided to come out so early?
That's on them. I'm usually done by 10. So I think they were thinking, I talked about it before the game, that we were struggling in the third quarters. And I'm assuming they decided we're coming out early, get loose, get ready, and it actually worked. You know, they came out and played a dang good third quarter. So that was good. That's, if there's a silver lining, is that we finally didn't play awful in the third quarter.
Well, speaking of silver linings, I mean, the whole second half, it would have been easy for a team, I think, with that deficit to just phone it in.
Yeah, well, I guess, I don't know if that's a lining or not. I think that's just your competitive will at some point. I mean, you're getting your butt kicked at home. And at some point, you're either going to give it away and let go of the rope, or you're going to try to fight back. I thought right at the beginning of the third, you can see we were finally here. Whether we could win the game or not, it was going to be, you know, make miss. You know, when you get down, all those open shots, and we did have a lot of open shots, I will say that, in the first half as well. But all those shots, now they have to go in. And I just think that puts too much pressure on your offense.
But you take that momentum then now into the next game?
Well, I hope so. I think they clearly can see how we have to play every night. I think they know it, but we just aren't doing it.
I was going to say, you kind of just mentioned it, though, with the shots in the first half. It seemed like there was kind of a struggle to get into the paint. Were you okay with most of those looks, or, I mean?
I'm going to take a wide open look by JJ and Jamal and those guys every night. You know, CP had a ton of wide open looks. You know, they didn't go down, but that still doesn't mean you should be down 25 points. Your defense has to carry you when your offense is bad, and that's what we have not done, in my opinion, this entire season.
Doc, were you more if you didn't hear that kind of passion and anger from the locker room post game like that? Were you more?
Oh no, I've been in so many. Those things are such a waste for the most part. You know, those don't affect me one way or the other. It's so easy to do it after the game. You know, I always say I'd rather have the explosions during the game. You know, after the game is too late. You know.
This kind of maybe more along the execution lines, but it seemed like DeMario Carroll and Scola were wide open in the first half. Defensively, what were you guys doing? Is it scheme? Is it not understanding, not executing?
It's got to be all the above. Can't be one thing. Now in the second half, they wasn't as open,
Mhm.
you know, yet we didn't make a change. You know,
Okay.
we didn't do one defensive change in the second half. So, you know, I haven't watched the tape yet. I thought Carroll, the first two, he drove. You know, we actually were guarding him. He just beat us off the dribble to the middle. You know, Scola, I know a lot of that is scheme, but I just go back to the second half. He didn't get a lot of those. So I'll look at it and I'll let you know.
Doc, this game was kind of like the Portland game or your last preseason game. You have to be proud of your bench on the way it played.
I'm not proud of anybody right now, including me. We're a game below 500. We've started out 4-0, and we've just not played well. So it's great that they decided to play hard and play well. You know, the fact is they've been doing that a lot lately, and you know, we got to get the starters to play the same way.
Is it too early still to have a sense of urgency?
Well, I think you have to have a sense of urgency every night. So my sense of urgency started in training camp. So it's not, as far as our record and stuff, is it too early? Yeah. But I do think we have to play with one every night. And I don't think we've done that. You know, after the Portland game, it was a lot of loud talk about, you know, sense of urgency. You know, and I thought the same thing, you know, after the game. It's easy to talk about it. So we have to do it during the game. Like, it was clear when we got down in the third and fourth, we played with that urgency and we were a much better team.
When a team's in a funk like this, is it on the leaders in the locker room to step up and do this, or is it collective?
Yeah, I think it's collective. You know, the leadership thing is great. I've always kind of, you know, I think you have to all lead, you know, and you know, I've always believed that. You know, I think our leaders have been very good overall, what they're saying and their work, and but I think everyone has to lead.
Last question.
Doc, what specifically do you look at right now to try to turn things around?
Not much. Film and see if there's something from a coaching standpoint. I always look from within first, you know, because this is on me. You know, I don't know. I always say to players, you know, we have to put them in a better spot to perform better. And that's my job. And if they're not playing hard, that's on me too, because I have to figure out a way of getting them to do that. Thanks.